Hello, today we're going to be looking at subtracting integers. Specifically, we'll be subtracting integers with those counters we used the other day, and hopefully you have that website open. And we'll also be looking at subtraction of integers on the number line. So, let's get started. I'd like to bring this back to your remembrance. We have these things called zero pairs. And it's basically when I have a positive and a negative, they cancel each other out, and we call that a zero pair. So let's look at some problems today. We've already talked about the identity property. It says that you can add or subtract 0 without changing the value. So when we were adding integers, we often took away the zeros. Today, we will probably be adding some zeros so that we can perform our subtraction. So, let's get into that. 6 minus 5. So we have 6 positives. Maybe I need to stretch that a little. Okay, I'm going to pause this and stretch it. Okay, thank you. So we have 6 positives, and we need to take away 5 positives. So let's do that. Boom. What's left? 1 positive. So, we've been doing that forever. Here's 3, take away 1, 3 positives, minus positive. Negative 4 minus negative 2. So we've got 4 negatives. We need to take away 2 negatives. Done. Okay. So far, no problems. Negative 7, so 7 negatives. Take away 4 negatives. I'm left with 3 negatives. So far, this is not too hard. So that's good. Now, what happens when I can't subtract because I don't have what I need to subtract? That's when I have to make it happen. Okay, so I have negative 4, and I need to take away 2 positives. Well, I don't have 2 positives, so here's what I need to do. Add a 0, because when I add a 0, I now have a positive. Add another 0, now I have 2 positives. So remember, my original issue was that I had 4 negatives, and I needed to remove or take away 2 positives. So by adding 0, I now have those 2 positives. Now I can take those away, and I'm left with 6 negatives. Okay, let's think about it. Is negative 4 minus 2 the same as negative 4 plus negative 2? So let's look at that. I'm going to use this other camera. That's going to be fun. We're going to leave that the way it is. So the first problem we had, let's double check it. Make sure. Negative 4 minus 2, and then we had negative 4 plus negative 2. And again, those parentheses there, their purpose is just to make it neat. So here I am, and I'm going to build these out. I actually have my counters today. So I have 4 negatives, 2, 3, got my 4 negatives, okay, yeah, and I need to take away 2 positives, or remove 2 positives. So I'm going to write that down. I've got 4 negatives, and I need to remove, let's get that up, 2 positives. So I don't have 2 positives. So I can't just put a positive there because it changes the value. But what I can do is add a 0 pair because that does not change the value. So I can add a 0 pair, and when I try to remove 2 positives, I only have 1. So I'm going to actually need to include another 0 pair so that I have 2 positives. So now what I can do, I have my 4 negatives I started with, and I need to remove 2 positives. and I now have two positives because I added two zero pairs. So I'm going to take these two positives away, and this is my answer. Okay. We removed those. Okay. So let's look at this problem, because we're supposed to think, is this the same? And we're just doing this little exploratory thing. So I've got 4 negatives, and then I'm going to add 2 negatives. So if I look at this, I now have 6 negatives. And the idea is, wow, that's the same thing. So, big picture, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. Adding the opposite. So here, I still have my 4 negatives, and I am adding the opposite of 2 positives, which is 2 negatives. Okay, so adding the opposite is the same as subtracting. You may want to write that down somewhere. I mean, this is a big idea. We're going to keep revisiting it. The plan is not for you to master this today. The plan is for you to understand it, okay? And we're going to keep revisiting it. But this is the big rule here, and we've just figured out that it works. -4, 4 negatives, and then I need to remove 2 positives, which I didn't have. So I added some zeros using the identity property. Didn't change my value, but now I have the 2 positives that I need to remove. So this is my answer. With this problem, I started with 4 negatives, and I added 2 positives, but I end up with the same result in each one, which is -6. So I do want to write this out in a very clear way. -4 minus 2, and I can rewrite that as -4 plus the opposite of 2. Alright, so these are the same. They look different. They kind of move a little different, but you get the same end result. And I'm going to show you each of those on a number line as well. I'm going to dump this. See, if you were here at school with me, then we could all dump them together. That'd be fun. Oh well. If you want some of these to, so you can actually touch, I gave you the virtual ones, but if you want to actually touch these, I saw these at the Dollar Tree the other day. Just saying. You don't have to get them, but I did see them if you wanted them. And they were $1 because they were at the Dollar Tree. Alright. Okay, I cleaned that up just a little bit. So here, I've got 4 negatives. There we go. And then I'm going to go left 2 more. Alright, and my ending place is -6. So that's what this -4 minus 2, that's what it looks like on the number line. So let's look at this on the number line. Start at 0. We are going to go left 4, and then we're going to add 2 more negatives. So the picture on the number line looks the same. Wow. Wonder if that's always true. So that's something we'll be exploring. Sometimes I am posing these questions so that you can think about them, okay? I'm trying to share my thoughts out loud since we're not together in person. All right, so now we're going to question, okay, what is the same as 5 minus -3? So here's what we're going to do. Go back here. 5, that's positive, 3, 4, 5, that's 5 minus -3. Okay, so I don't have 3 negatives to remove. So what I need to do is add some zeros. How many zeros will I need to add? Hope you said 3. 1, 2, these are hard to pick up, 3 zeros. Now, the reason I needed to add 3 zeros is because I'm going to have to take away or remove 3 negatives. Well, I didn't have 3 negatives to take away. But if I add 3 zeros using the identity property, now I have the 3 negatives I can remove. So, that's great. I'm going to model that on my number line. So, that's not going to work. Let's go down here. Okay, 5 minus negative 3. So I'm going to go 5 forward to the right. Minus, it tells me to go left. But then I have another negative sign, which is changing my direction again. So from here, I would go left, but then that changes the direction. So actually going this way. My final answer is 8. So if I just had that diagram, I could say 5 plus 3. Okay, so let's look at that. 5 plus 3, same diagram. Now that arrow scooted up a little. I'm not really sure why I did that, but I did it. So, another way to read this would be 5, the opposite of opposite 3. 5, the opposite of negative 3. Okay, well the opposite of negative 3 is 3. 5 plus 3. So again, adding the opposite is the same as subtracting. And that's great information to know. So there's a few more questions I'm going to go through here. Okay, we've done these. Here's that model again. Okay, here's one. I'm going to pause for you to work that one out. Here's the model. Final answer, positive 6. Here's another one. That's showing that 3 minus negative 3 is the same as 3 plus 3, which is 6. Okay, what's always true? I'm going to let you fill this in. Here's another problem. Next. 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 Oh, that's it. So, I hope that you have learned a lot today. Again, the idea for today was that you could model on the number line and with counters and start to understand subtraction. See the relationship between subtracting and adding the opposite. It's okay if you're not 100% mastered today because we're going to work on this some more. Thank you and have a lovely day.